Hey everyone, welcome to the Collecting Vintage Unopened podcast. My name is Brandon Stewart. This is a podcast devoted to discussing anything and everything in regards to the collecting of vintage unopened sports and non-sports cards. And tonight I have a very special guest, Rob Loglisci, who is a big Mike Scott fan. And thank you so much for chatting with me tonight.
Pleasure, Brandon. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So the first question, right, that I'm sure everybody wants to know, why Mike Scott?
Okay, so that's I'm prepared for it. So
Sure, sure.
so I actually still have the very first game I went to, 8 years old. I saw the Mets play the Astros. I got to see Willie Mays play. What I fell in love with were the orange uniforms, the orange helmets that the Astros wore that day. In fact, I think I even have the ticket stub still here and the box score, and I still have the program. In fact, if I open the program up, I believe you'll see an 8-year-old best job trying to score it, um, without destroying my poor program. But yeah, yeah, there's an 8-year-old trying to score a program, which is it's authentic. I save everything. So yeah, I fell in love with the Astros back in 1973. Followed them from 1973 until, of course, 1986, which I had a little bit of a dilemma because being from New York, I'm from New Jersey, but I root for the Mets and Yankees along with the Astros. We had this little issue where the Mets and Astros played a great 6-game series. So I followed Mets pitchers. I actually like Tim Leary also. I collect a lot of his stuff. But I did collect a lot of Mike Scott stuff starting in 87, 88 as I owned a baseball card store. And I had a lot of the children the kids used to come in the store would tease me about the 86 series and bring me Mike Scott stuff. And I do have one picture from 1987 or 88 with an Astros jersey on. And we wrote to one of the kids got me his address. I wrote to him and he sent me back this beautiful 1988 Donruss MVP card, and he signed it to Rob. And from that point forward, all I did was collect his inventory. So unopened, it's only been about the last year or so. Even though I've had unopened for, wow, going back probably I had my first couple cellos and racks in the late 90s. Paid nothing for them, which I wouldn't be able to do now. But I really got into it in the last year, and I got to blame that on Shane from our group, who I met from buying rack cello holders on eBay. He introduced me to the group, and I was hooked. So that's basically my story. Why I collect Mike Scott. It's also kind of neat that there's not a lot of people that collect them, so I am able to get a lot of his. I'm able to find a lot of his. 81, 82, 83 stuff without spending a ton of money right now on it. I can get a rack for 50, $60, sometimes more because I'll pay whatever. But I have them all. Yeah, I do have them all.
That's awesome. Are there any that you have been unable to find yet? Or I thought you had
Yes,
said
yeah, yeah. There's actually a couple, and all points out. I am in need of a 1983 or 1985 top cello. I don't have them. I've got the rookie, which I got a PSA 9.
sure,
I've got 81. I've got a grocery cello. He
sure.
only shows up in the back of 81. My 81 rack right now. My 81 cello is actually, I might have one. I might have a raw one here. I jumped on the yeah, I do have one. He was on the back of 81. Um
Okay.
I jumped on the special that PSA just put out for the $30, and I sent like a dozen racks, and I think a bunch of our members did too. So a lot of my unopened, ungraded in fact, I got logged by PSA 2 days ago. So I'm hoping to see that in a in a couple months. But I've got 80, 81, 82, 83. I only have a grocery cello with him on the back. I
Hmm.
do have a grocery rack with him on the front, but I don't want to cut the rack open. 84 I just received from one of the members. I can't remember which member gave it to me, but thank you very much. He sent it to me for free, which was awesome. The 85 tops, I only have a grocery rack, which I got from Jim Gordon from the forum, who's 10th inning on eBay. Awesome eBayer's got amazing inventory. He was a shop owner for about 35 years, and he closed up shop, and he's just got amazing mid 80s Dunros and Fleer. I'm sure people have done business with him before. But I'm missing the 85 top cello also. And believe it or not, I don't have an 89 top cello either. They're the three that I'm missing, but I have everything else tops. I'm missing 82 Fleer cello, 84 and 85 Fleer racks, and that's it.
Okay.
I have one. If you want me to throw them all up, I can literally put everyone
Oh
on.
wow.
I have the
Oh yeah. Can you
I've
hold
got
that
it.
one up? That's
Yep,
beautiful.
I've got a couple of the this is the one I like the most. I actually like this one a little
Yeah.
better than the other one because it's got Ken Forsch on it with his wearing his Astros.
Oh, can you move it a little bit
Sure,
towards this
absolutely.
or the other
Oh,
direction?
yep,
Sorry.
yep,
There
yep.
you go. Just
Sorry,
to
yeah, there you
reverse
go.
it.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's yeah, that one
wow.
is an old. I had that. I've had this one since maybe 98, 99. I had a second one, which also went through BBC, which I'm thrilled about.
Sure.
And then I guess out of all the other ones that I really love, I picked this one from one of our members. It's a grocery cello, but it's got Scott
Oh
here,
yeah.
and it's got Ricky
Oh yeah, I
in the
see that.
middle, which I thought was kind of nice. I actually paid a lot. I made an offer that I forgot who I got it from. I'm sorry. But the member is a Ricky fan. He did not want to sell it. I just made him an offer he couldn't refuse, and he sold it to me, which was kind of neat. And then 81s. I mean, Jesus, I don't even. I'm only going to fan him because
Sure.
I've got a ton of
Wow.
them. And
Wow.
anytime I see an 81, because that's his first full card. Anytime I see an 81, I just buy it.
Is
I
that
don't care what I pay for it. I just buy it.
is that your favorite Mike Scott card?
Uh,
Or
Yeah,
yeah, your
I
favorite.
no, I mean other than the rookie, I mean I like the 83 tops traded a lot.
Hmm.
But obviously you're not getting that in any packs or anything like that. I do have one rack that is near and dear to me, and I have to give another one of our members an amazing shout out for this, and that would be Brian Dunn, who collects a lot of he's big into 87 and 88 racks, but I had been looking for this dumb rack for a long time, and it's got the Mike Scott Glossy All-Star on one
Sure.
side and then his regular card on the other.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's kind of one of those little doubles. So yeah, this one means a lot to me. Even though it's worthless, but to someone like me, it's a ton. And then I love the Donruss stuff. This is one of the Jim Gordon's 84
Sure. Yeah.
Donruss that he came up with.
Was
He
that
also
Was that Ted Simmons with him?
yeah. It's yeah, Simmons is in the first cell. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Very nice.
I actually got this from well, he's 10th inning on
Hmm.
I brought him into the forum. So that's my claim to fame is I actually brought someone into the forum who seems to be doing pretty well
And
with our collectors.
this is the collector's universe forum.
No. Our
Oh, oh,
Facebook
oh,
forum.
you're talking the Facebook. Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I
Okay.
met Jim from eBay just actually bidding heavy on this rack.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I said just sell it to me. I'll give you, some crazy number for it. And I ended up having to use my Easy Sniper on eBay to get it at the last minute. I think I bid like $500. I wasn't losing it.
Sure.
I won it for like $80, but I wasn't. You know what? I might have
Sure.
put $600. I wasn't losing it.
Sure.
And from that point forward, I was able to reach out to him. We had a couple things in common, and he sent me some really cool stuff. I've got an. He's the one who sent me. I don't know if I have it in front of me right here, but he sent me. Do I have it? Yeah, I have it right here. It's cool. I thought this was neat. He sent me this one for free. Again, our members are so cool.
Yeah, they
This is
are.
an 85 grocery cello. It's got
Okay.
Scott, and then it's got Steve Carlton on it,
Sure.
which
Yeah,
I
that's
love.
awesome.
And I got to give Shane who got me into this unopened
Addiction.
addiction of
Yeah.
mine
Yeah.
now. Shane did something amazing for me because he knows that I love Mike Scott so much. And I'm trying to pull it out because these are all 82s that I'm kind of
Sure.
ripping through right now.
Sure.
Shane gave me, and I can't find it. Shane knew I loved these, and he showed me that he had this 82 rack. Where is it? It's not that one. It's not this one. Huh. Okay, it's missing. But it was a cardboard header with Ozzie Smith on it. And I told him, hey, Shane, whatever you want for it, I'll pay for it. And about 5 days later in the mail, here's a box with the rack in there and saying, enjoy.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
the members on our forum they're amazing. They're
Yes.
just amazing.
Yes, they are. Yeah, no, I think that is what makes it what it is. And
Yeah.
the accessibility
Hmm.
when you have questions about
They're
collation, about authentication.
they answer it with no with complete honesty. No one is trying to stab anyone in the back. A lot of times you'll notice I sell on the forum and I sell underpriced, and I do so for that reason because the forum's been so good to me.
Mhm.
If I'm able to find something, a lot of times I'll overbid to buy something on eBay just to get the Mike Scott thing, and then I'll just sell off all the parts, and I'll sell off all the parts well under what they go for, and the members just grab them up, and I figure that's the least I can do for
Yeah.
what the forum's done for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I will say, yeah, I've missed out on a few of yours because you'll list something and within 10 minutes,
Oh, they're gone.
literally
Yeah, yeah.
everything is gone. And I'm like, I blinked.
And
Yeah, no.
it's funny because it's like I'll go after the I was just telling you the story before,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
didn't post this one, but I picked up an 81 rack from in fact the user is on eBay now. I think his name is Jeffy Grand,
Hmm.
Grande. He's been posting for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he's got some really good stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, we got 82s, 83s, some 84s, but he's got a lot of 83s and 81. So I got an 81 rack with had the Mike Schmidt record breaker and Mike Scott in the second cell. It's out at BBCE now. But with it, I had to buy an 83 Boggs rack. It had Boggs in the first cell and Reggie Jackson in the third cell. It's like, wow, this is great. And same thing. I knew it wasn't going to be cheap. I used my little sniper program. I think I put like $500 in again. I just wasn't going to get. I wanted the Scott rack, and
sure.
I think I got it for 313. I think I paid for it.
Hmm.
So I know we have some Boggs collectors online, and I could probably even tell you who I ended up selling the Boggs rack for. But I think I sold it to him for like $200 because I could have got more for it if I put it online, but
Sure.
that's not what it's about. The whole thing is, giving some of it back and
Yeah,
being fair. And the members are great.
yeah,
And that was, just one of the times that, I've just went ballistic buying stuff and just selling off the parts. So I
sure.
think I mentioned before I collect I went after Tim Leary junk, just to show you that I'm not just a complete Mike Scott crazy person. Give me one second.
Sure, sure.
I do have a stack of Tim Leary junk somewhere. Where is it? You know what? Maybe I am a Mike Scott crazy person. I cannot find it, but I thought I brought a stack of Tim Leary John. Oh, I'm going to take my headset off one second. I want to show you
Sure,
something funny.
sure, sure.
Okay. So yes, I do have I do collect someone other than Mike Scott. So here's just some Tim Leary junk. It's a couple of his rookie cards. Here's an unopened cello.
Oh,
I've got
cool.
a rack at BBC now. Um, but we're not supposed to be talking about anything but unopened stuff here, but these are, without dropping them, these are Mike Scott rookies. There's
Oh, wow.
yeah, there's about 700 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, I'm nuts. I'm there. I'm there. I'm on the wrong side of that. Forget about the fact that I've got, you know, enough PSA 10s to choke a
Sure.
horse, between his rookies or 81s, and that's just a piece of it. I mean, I think I have these are all PSA 10s too. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah. And
That's so
some of
cool.
the other things that I love that I guess are considered unopened because I guess they are.
Hmm.
This is this is an autographed ball contract that I had picked up back in the late 90s. When you buy the baseballs in the stamped autographed baseballs, they're signed in certain positions. So his signature is like on 5 times on this particular contract. They're still
Oh,
being
okay.
sold on eBay, but obviously the good players are all gone. Two of his Tops contracts from the Tops vault,
Oh, cool.
which
That's
you
cool.
can, yeah, again, you can find Tops vault stuff online now, but I think there's an Ivan Rodriguez online. The guy wants like $400 for it. So the good players are expensive. I bought this back when it first came out. I think I paid $10 for each one of them. So, and probably my favorite, which this is crazy. I have never probably shown this to anyone. This is what every minor leaguer signs to say, and this is the 1980 Tidewater team. Basically, it says, um, for betting on a baseball game, which I do not have a duty to perform, ineligibility for 1 year. And then
Oh,
it's,
wow.
it's just basically saying you can't gamble. This is the thing Pete Rose kind of is guilty of. But
Sure.
this is the original from the 1980. It's dated 1980 from Tidewater, and of course Mike Scott's on that too.
So
He's
the entire team had to sign it.
yeah. This is basically you will be ineligible. It's for offering a bribe to another player or players to lose or attempt to lose or fail to give their best efforts towards winning any game if they participate. Permanent ineligibility for accepting or agreeing to accept or consider the acceptance of a bribe from any person. I mean, it's
Sure.
basically the rules that are baseball. And I think I paid like $15 for that back,
Wow.
1999 or 2000. So I have this crazy collection that I've been lucky enough to amass over the years. So yeah, maybe I am a Mike Scott super fan, but it was only because that was the thing that I decided I wanted to spend money on, and it wasn't a lot of money at the time.
Sure.
I think I mentioned before to you that I have 7 of his game jerseys. 5 of them are authenticated now. I don't think the most expensive one cost me $300, and you
Wow.
can't even touch those now. I mean, I made an offer for one on Heritage, and think the guy bought it for like 1,000 a year ago. I offered him 1,500. He wanted 2,000. I mean, they're just the prices have gone through the roof, and I'm lucky enough to own 7 of them. I have 4. I have 3 Mets jerseys, including his 1979, his rookie year. Actually, I have 4 Met jerseys. I have a 1978 where he wore number 59. So it was spring training because he didn't make the team in 78. But I have that jersey, and I have a 79. I've got an 81. I've got an 83 Astros jersey with the rainbow, which I have framed upstairs. Unfortunately, I can't show that to you, but
Sure.
that one was authenticated by Bill Henderson of the Dream Shop. If you have any type of if you fancy game worn uniforms, his website is thedream.shop, and his name is William Henderson. He's the best at restoring uniforms. He is the person who Major League Baseball would go to have something restored. And then I have an 85 Astros jersey. I have an 89, and I have a 90. And the 89 I had Mike Scott sign. And I think
So,
I have like 5 pair of his pants too, which is nuts.
so before we started filming, you told me that you had done a signing and met him and
I
had an
met him.
extended
Yeah.
conversation. What was that like to meet this guy who is seems to be one of your heroes?
Yeah. I met him. There we
That,
are.
that's awesome.
So yeah, so I had found out he doesn't do a lot of signing shows. I had found that he was doing one in Secaucus, New Jersey in 2007. I called the promoter and I said, I kind of explained who I was and that I wanted to buy every ticket for that was available for him. And he goes, well, I think he's doing 100. And I said, well, I'll take them all. And he goes, well, I can't sell them all to you. I'll sell you 25. And I said, I'll take 25. So I took 25 tickets. I nervously went there and I brought a suitcase and I packed all my memorabilia. I packed everything I had at the time was probably like 5 or 6 jerseys. I didn't bring anything unopened. I brought stuff because I thought about having them sign, as much as I could, and I
Mhm.
said it would be a really good idea to show him, that he's got a fan. And I was a little nervous because I didn't want to look like I was a stalker or anything like that. But I had known someone who had met him in the past at a spring training and had a nice story about his wife's car breaking down, and he helped his wife. So I actually kind of slipped that in, and he remembered it, which was nice. So, I'm standing in line, and here I am with the suitcase and 25 tickets, and they must have told him that here you got a guy here who just like wanted to buy out your tickets. So, you know, a unbelievable surprise to me is he goes, get out of the line. I'll sign your stuff. Just would you mind sitting next to me? And yeah, like a kid in a candy store, of
Yeah,
course.
sure. Yeah.
So I sat next to him for 2 hours, and he told me baseball stories. He told me, we shared that. I shared that story about his wife's car breaking down, which he remembered. He told me some really cool inside baseball stories, including whether or not he scuffed the ball. And I'm going to save that till the next time that
Sure.
we speak, but I do have an answer for it. He told me that he wasn't sure if he would have pitched well in Game 7, even though that was the best he had thrown. He told me some really cool things about, the way the clubhouse works, about spring training, about life, finances, golf, his shoulder, throwing a split finger. He just 2 hours of him and I just talking about life, and it was great. So sometimes meeting your heroes is a good thing. You know,
Sure.
I have two heroes in this life. One of them is Evil Knievel, and he's gone.
Hmm.
His son passed away yesterday, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Um, but I met Eddie Braun, who is the gentleman who actually did complete the Snake River Canyon jump. So if it's I'll give another plug, a useless plug, but he has a Disney Plus, I guess it's a documentary called Stuntman, and it's about him and his attempt to recreate the Evil Knievel Snake River jump from 1974, which he did successfully. So if you YouTube it, there's plenty of videos of that event. And another couldn't be a nicer guy, So I've met him too. They're my two claims to fame,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
both times it was successful. So I'm happy about that.
No, that's good. I mean, yeah, because you hear these horror stories of people who
Oh, sure.
idolize a player and then they meet him and they're just
Yeah,
completely
you
deflated.
you end up being a Ty Cobb fan. Not that there's anything wrong with Ty Cobb,
Of
but
course.
and he spits on you or something. And yeah, I've heard those, and I did own a store for a couple of years, so I did get to meet. I think I met probably the nicest guy I met was Gaylord Perry. I thought he was like super great. I met Hank Aaron, even though he was doing such a large signing show that he was just his head was down and he was signing, but you
Hmm.
know but at the time it was $20 an autograph too, right? It's not like it is now.
Sure.
And there wasn't any I just wish I knew about unopened. I actually have 1974, the card number one with Aaron, all-time home run king. I had an unopened cello with that in my store, and I sold it for $100 to a police officer who I think opened it up. I think he
Oh,
ripped it open.
oh, man.
So yeah, that one I kicked myself in the butt about, but I
Sure.
probably wouldn't have taken care of it anyway, because who knew, right?
Sure.
Who knew back in 1986 that if we knew back in 1986 we would have saved everything.
Oh, absolutely. So in the past year, this is when all of your Mike Scott unopened has you've accumulated.
Well, no, I actually have. So I've been very lucky that I had the 80s. I had the two
Okay.
1980
Oh,
racks. I
that's
had
right.
the
Sorry, you said
1980s.
sorry. It was a while back. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had the 80 cello, and the
Hmm.
second 1980 cello again came from, I think it came from Mark Daly from the forum, who
Hmm.
again traded me for. He basically said, "Rob, I want to give it to you," and I'm like, "Well, I can't take it from you." And I think I sent him a couple 1985 racks with like Roger Clemens and Gooden on it, and something else, but it was a lopsided trade because I would have paid $500 for the rack, for the cello, and I just sent that to PSA too. So my second, and it's funny enough, right? If you go on the PSA population report and you type in Mike Scott unopened, there isn't anything. There's like nothing. I'm the only one. I'm the
Hmm.
only one who's dumb enough, I guess, to send stuff to be authenticated, but um, there is a population of one, and there will be for everything of his up to 1986. So I sent in my 81, 82, 83. Well, 80, I don't have 83, 84. I sent
Hmm.
in an 86. I sent in a couple Fleers, 83 Fleer. I sent in an 84 Fleer. I sent in my 84 tops. And I sent in I have a couple of his he threw that one no hitter. So I have one of each of his no hitter tickets.
Oh, wow.
And I just bought one that had been on eBay forever. Which is it's this ticket. It's the actual the ticket from the not so that's the that's the box off. That's the Astros ticket. That
Hmm.
this is the Ticketron ticket, and then this is the actual one from like a season ticket, and this one's
Uh,
stamped single,
oh,
which
okay.
which kills me because it's stamped single. It only got a five, a grade of a five, which kills me. But I bought another one of these that was signed by him, and I just sent that into PSA also. So PSA with dropping their prices probably was a good thing for us as collectors, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who really kind of unloaded on them in the last 2 weeks, sending in items.
Oh, absolutely. Do you do any, you mentioned a lot of racks and cellos. Do you do any wax packs with Scott showing?
It's tough to find, but
Yeah.
whenever someone says, "Hey, I have one," I say how much and I buy it.
Sure, sure.
There was one yesterday. A guy put a 1990 Fleer with his All Star on the back,
Hmm.
and he had it for 27.50. I'm like, not dude, $10. I'm not going to budge. And then he sent me an offer for 20, and then I said, okay, 17.50, and he took it. So yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I have some. I don't have anything older. I mean, I know one of the guys does a really good job pack pressing. I
Hmm.
haven't kind of got into that yet. Maybe that's the next frontier, but
Sure.
I don't. I'm on eBay every day, and
Hmm.
because Scott isn't really, he's an all-star, but he's not like super famous.
Yeah.
I usually find his stuff hiding in the background somewhere. I usually see, 5 racks and one of them has a Mike Scott on there, and then I just go after the whole lot. It's very rare that I will see an auction for something that says Mike Scott rack. Oh, here, 1982, like this will be because of Tom Seaver. It won't be
Sure.
because of Mike Scott, but I'll
Sure.
buy it because of Mike Scott.
Sure.
This is one that I've never seen before. This is an 80, he doesn't show up. 84 usually shows up on the back, but for whatever reason, he's on the front of this one. I love this rack, and it's the only one I've ever seen, so I'm kind of happy about that. And I have a tough time finding him in 83. He's in the first cell in 83.
Sure.
I have two. My first one came from the forum. I believe Greg sent it to me. The second one I got online from, I think Probestein had it, but again, he was selling it as an 83 rack, so I got it for like $30.
Sure.
So I usually pick these things off in the background, and I don't have a lot of competition for them because there's really not a lot of other. There's one other guy who collects Mike Scott cards, and I let him, for the most part, if we're both. I mean, I know what his. I know when he's bidding because I know what his feedback is, so I can tell when he's bidding on something, and because I have multiples of everything, I let a lot of it go. You can't, like I said, I think I just showed you like 600 of his rookie cards. I mean,
Sure. Sure.
at some point, yeah, I like some of the numbered stuff. There's a 2005. There was I think it's a top pristine. I don't have the card lying around, but I
Hmm.
have 3 to 4 printing plates. Right, the printing plates are one of one. I'm missing the cyan one. Like that one, I'd give my arm and my leg for. And now I don't know where that is. Maybe it's still in the pack somewhere. But generally, if it isn't something that a card, I'll usually pass on. When it's unopened, I buy it. I just buy it. And
Sure.
if and I haven't seen like the 1980s. I don't think I've seen in the last. Well, I've been on the forum for about a year and a half now. Maybe a year and a half. Other than I think it was Mark who emailed me and said that he had the cello. I don't think I've ever seen the 1980 rack offered.
Hmm.
So if it was, I'd buy it.
Sure.
But
Sure.
I don't think I've seen it offered. So my collection of racks went from prior to being on the forum went to a couple that I had that were, in bags, I guess, for, folded kind of
Hmm.
tripled up and in the team bag to, being told about BBC and, learning about these great rack holders and, sending my first couple ones in to Steve Hart, who immediately sent an email back. Again, couldn't be a nicer guy, probably one of the greatest guys in the industry. And then I became hooked with that. So every month I'd send half a dozen out, half a dozen out. So I probably have, I don't know, 50 or 60 racks now that are BBC authenticated, and I probably have another 50 or 60 that are loose. There's a new member, Saul, is
Hmm.
selling these new cool rack holders that I don't have one here with me, but they're not these thicker ones that Grant sells. By the way, Grant sells great rack holders. Buy your rack holders from Grant. Sal sells these little $1 ones, but the racks fit in. I don't think I put a valuable rack in there, but better than putting in a team bag. So
Sure.
I got a stack of those lying around. which is nice. I'll give you another guy I collect. We would talk about funny things. I collect Joey Meyer. Do you know who Joey Meyer is?
I do not.
Okay, look up Joey. If you Google Joey Meyer, you will see a video of him playing. I think it was in '87, minor league Denver Zephyrs. He hits. I think he hits a. It's at a 580-foot home run. It's the longest home run that's ever been recorded on video. And he's got a rookie card in 1987 Donruss, and then he's a 1988 Fleer Tops, and he's Donruss rated rookie in '88. So I get his stuff, which you pick up for $1, right? Because no one knows who he is. But
Sure.
if you look up, let's see, Joey Meyer, his home run was 582 feet. You can't miss it. It's like
Wow.
you Google Joey Meyer and you'll see a guy just hit a change up into the night. Um, at the time they didn't have the stat track to know exactly how long it was, so they had some engineer figure it out. But it's a bomb. It's a bomb to the point where you don't see it land. Like the cameraman can't track it. It goes so far. And he had like a 4-year MLB career, and I collect his junk. So you guys got me hooked. You got me hooked in this industry, and it's a good thing. The Facebook forum is part of my day now. I try to
Mhm.
frequent it as much as I can. I'm I do IT for a living. I'm a vice president for information systems at a bank in New York City called Safra
Mhm.
National Bank. So generally, I'm busy. 10 hours a day. I have a 3 hour a day commute from New Jersey to New York. So during that commute, I get a lot of just some downtime where I
Sure.
can I could read. I can listen to music. I could watch videos, and during that time is literally when I'm like I spend my eBay time just looking for stuff that comes out, and then on the ride home I get that same hour and a half trip coming home, and
Sure.
I'll do that too. And then the rest of it is just trying to keep everything away from my wife, because my wife would kill me if she. I mean, I keep most of my junk in the safe. I have
Mhm.
one wall that has a couple framed uniforms up. I did figure out a neat way for these sheets where you can stick the sheets up. You can actually you could put these little Velcro strippy things on the back, and they stick to a wall without damaging the walls of the tape. And so that's neat. So these sheets, and sometimes you could buy the sheet for $15. It'll cost you $20 to have something shipped to you. But
Mhm.
the holder, the 29 by 43 holder that they fit in, they're hard to get, right? You can't get one because the shipping's not good for them. They go for about $20 each if you buy them, but you got to buy 10 at a time. So the
Sure.
way I look at it is, if I'm going to buy 10, I might as well buy 10 sheets to fill it up with. So I
Sure.
literally have every Mike Scott sheet from 1980. I have his '80 rookie sheet. I have 82, his team leader sheet's got Ripken's rookie on it, so that one's kind of neat. '83, he's on with Boggs, so that one's kind of cool. That '84 Dunruss one that I just picked up a couple weeks ago is neat, because where is he? There's Nolan Ryan right. If I could get,
Oh
if I
yeah,
could
yeah.
bend it, yeah. No, Nolan's right there in the middle, which is cool, and that's got Strawberry's rookie on it. It's got there's a whole bunch. I mean, there's got to be 10. There's Ripken's on here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and again, I stole this. I think I put in a bid. I'm a big auto bidder guy. I don't have the time to remember when the eBay auctions are going to end. So there's a couple really good sniper programs out there, and you put a number in that you're willing to pay, or a number that you're not willing to pay,
Mhm.
and it bids for you with like 5 seconds to go. And I think I picked that rack up for like $125. It's a steal.
Sure.
And okay, so people don't collect them because they're hard to display. And what are you gonna do? Roll it up? And no, you put two little strips on it and you stick it on the wall, and it's actually kind of a cool man cave thing. And
Sure.
it's not really that expensive if you find it out. I'll give two people credit for that hobby on this forum. Uh, Obviously, David Einsberg is amazing. He found the 1980 sheet for me. He found 81, 86, 87. I think he found more than half of them. And Nicholas, who doesn't come on the forum that much, and maybe I shouldn't even mention his name. He's got he's from Brooklyn. I met him in person. He's got a stack of sheets about, you know, a foot and a half high. In fact, he's got a 1973 Mike Schmidt sheet, which
Wow.
I've never seen that before or
Well,
since.
yeah.
It's not for sale, but
Sure. Yeah.
I know he has that. Maybe we edit that part out. But yeah, I've met some really cool people. I met Jason, the Pack guy, Jason Sanchez. I met him.
Mhm.
I met him on the street. Drove down, pick up a rack from him. He was awesome. I should have met him at Nationals this year, but I didn't get a chance to go down.
Have you been to the National before?
I have, yeah, back when I had the card store in like 86, 87, and 88. I think it was in Atlantic City in 87 or 88
Mhm.
when I met Hank Aaron. But I haven't been since. And again, I think that would probably be a bad thing for me to go to because money is different now, right?
Mhm.
Something that was, if I saw stuff there, I probably wouldn't be there very long because but again, I don't know how many people would really have Mike Scott stuff out, you
Yeah,
know.
sure.
So prior to COVID, I had an idea to contact, and this is, this is after 2017 with the Astros cheating scandal. I was gonna offer my collection to the Houston Astros on the condition that they didn't sell it. I was going because what am I going to do? At some point,
Mhm.
I'm 58 years old now. At some point, I'm going to be like, I probably do have the biggest Mike Scott collection that there is, and I'm either going to sell it or I'm going to die with it. So I said, maybe I'll offer it to the Astros. His number is retired by the Houston Astros. He wore 33. They retired his number on the same day that they retired Jose Cruz's number. So 33 is a pretty sacred number for the Astros. And I thought about reaching out to them and saying, "Look, I'll give you this unbelievable collection on you probably don't even have to display it. Just give it a home and give the credit to Mr. Scott, whatever charity he decides he wants to do it." And then, of course, COVID hit, and it kind of changed that for me. But I still might do that. I mean, it still might be my end game. I don't think I would get joy out of selling. I've collected it for so long right now.
Mhm.
It's not even about money. It's
Yeah,
just something that if I see it, I buy it. It's an addiction. It's a good addiction, but it's an
yeah,
addiction. And my end game still may be just to donate it in one shot. If they were to accept it. If they're not to accept it, yeah, maybe I guess I do sell at
sure.
some point, but
What does your wife think of your Mike
hates
Scott
it.
collection?
Hates it.
Oh,
Absolutely hates it. Yeah, hates it. Yeah, she likes money, but she likes nice things, but she hates this. For the most part, I'm able to hide it from her, other than a couple things that are hanging on the wall because I keep everything in a safe. Well, the
sure.
racks are. I haven't figured out the really cool way to display them. Like I believe like Greg and a couple of the guys on the forum have these unbelievable rooms where they're able to like layer the racks. I think if I were to do that, I'd probably get divorced. So I keep it into the room I'm in now is my office. So I have a lot of junk up. I guess I really can't. My camera's stationary, but I got I've got a bat from him.
Oh, that's cool.
I've got I've got pants and what else? What else? Yeah, here's a pair of 84 pants. Here's a pair of 86 pants. I've got I picked this thing up about a week ago. I thought this was neat. This is the oops. This is the Bandai coin, the 1990 Bandai coin, and that's the mold for it,
Oh, wow.
which I thought was neat. So there's a guy on eBay who's got other players. He actually has, I think he might have Gwynn on there too, and he's not asking a lot, like $70 or $80 for it. And I just had to do a little bit of diligence on it to make sure that it wasn't, fake. And he was able to provide the information that it was real. And I said, oh, hey, what the heck, So that's a new addition to the collection. But for the most part, it stays in one room, other than the 83 jersey that I have hanging up, and I keep one sheet that I rotate the sheets. So one I'll because it's so easy to just kind of stick off the wall. There's no holes.
Sure.
she lets me get away with that. But other than that, no, no. I keep my wife happy by just, you know,
Oh,
being a good husband and being my kids don't seem to care too much about it.
yeah.
They
It's
have
a. I mean, you're a smart man. I mean, happy wife, happy life. I mean, that's.
yeah, yeah. No, that's it couldn't be a truer thing.
Well, I mean, and it seems like so you have kind of a Mike Scott man cave, basically.
I do, yeah, yeah. Well, I have some. Well, I have some Evil Knievel stuff up. You know, I've
That's
got a
cool.
ton of Eddie. Well, since I met Eddie Braun,
Hmm.
I have I have this huge poster of him in the rocket going over the canyon, which is awesome. Um, I actually have some stuff from Colombo too. I guess that's the other like when you like something, it's always kind of eclectic a little. So
Sure.
I like Peter Falk, so I have some of his artwork. I have three of his original artworks. I have one of his paintings and I have two of his doodles where he he drew himself as Columbo, and they're worth some money. But again, I bought them so many years ago. Like I think I paid like $200 or $300. I bought one of them while he was still alive off of his website for $100, and it's like 1,500 on eBay now if you're lucky enough to find one. So you know that was pretty cool. And I was into Banksy, and I had a Banksy. I had Umbrella Girl, Nola, it's called. I bought
Hmm.
that in 2009. It came out in 2008. I bought it in 2009. I paid 1,500 for it. I sold it for 25 grand. That's one I'm kicking myself in the pants for because it's worth like $100,000 now. So I've been lucky. I've been really lucky that I've
Sure.
kind of gotten into some things early. Um,
Sure.
but this is just one that like this is the one item that I don't sell. You know, some
Okay.
other stuff I'll buy and sell. This I just don't sell.
Sure. Sure. Well, I mean, it seems like you really do have a personal connection to him as well, which is pretty cool. You know, like
If I met him and he was a jerk, I probably would have sold everything. But he couldn't have been a nicer guy. He literally couldn't have been a nicer guy. And he told me some really cool stories. And I have no reason not to believe him. And
sure.
I honestly think if I met him again, I'm pretty sure he'd remember me.
Sure. Did you see the Facing Nolan documentary?
I haven't, but I know that's on Netflix if I'm not mistaken,
It
right?
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Mike Scott's in it.
Is he really? Yeah.
He's
So
interviewed in it. Yeah.
I've got all of the '86 documentaries from the Mets. You know, the Bad Guys One and One
Sure.
Pitch Away, which is a really great book too. Um, and I YouTube's a great place because you could find a lot of his older games when he pitched for the Mets, where he literally was like a fastball changer pitcher and he was getting rocked all the time. So I will put Facing Nolan on my to-do list of things to watch
Sure.
during my commute. My commute starts up again on Tuesday, with the holiday being tomorrow.
Sure. Well, there's an important lesson here too for anyone listening. If you're thinking about bidding on lots of packs and there's a Mike Scott,
Yeah, you're probably going to run into a little bit of resistance and not know who it is. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
you're probably
I have done some crazy things when it comes to again. I use an auto bidder, so
sure,
if I
sure,
see something and I don't have, if put it this way, if it's an 81, it's an 83 or an 84 tops, don't bother because I'm gonna put $200-300 bid behind the scenes and on it. And if you want it, you're gonna pay $300 for it. You know,
sure,
so I will grab every one of those. If I see an 84 Donruss, I'm gonna overbid on that. And God forbid I ever see that 83 or 85 cello pack that I'm missing. Forget it. I honestly think I take a mortgage out right now to complete because I do want to come. My
sure,
goal literally is to have a is to have a PSA of every one starting from 19. Where's my 80? I got a uh, 82, 82 team leaders. I'm missing the 83. My 84 is at PSA. I don't have 85. My 86 is at PSA. My 87 is at PSA. My goal is to get them all. My
sure.
goal is to get them all, and literally at that point maybe I can relax a little and
well,
just
well,
enjoy them.
well, I do think the next stage for you. I mean, this could lead to a very slippery slope too. And you have such a wonderful collection already. If you O-Pee-Chee packs, it's easy to see who's on the back
You
most of the
can't
time.
you can't get so he's got an 84 and I've already asked the guys, and I have not been able to find one. So
Okay,
if you could if you're talking about the wax packs, yeah,
Yeah.
then you just opened up a can of worms for me, because I'll start I'll start asking. But I know that we have a couple of collectors that the 84 O-Pee-Chee Cellos are the racks are there. I've seen them, but
Sure.
I've never seen him on one, because I think, well, at least in tops, he shows up in the header cell on the back. He's always the header.
Mhm.
I must have 10 1984 racks where he's in the header cell on the back, right?
Sure. Sure.
I have this one where he's in the middle cell on the front. So, yeah, I guess it's possible to find one,
Sure.
but I've never seen an O-Pee-Chee 84. But again, if I see one online,
Well,
don't
and I
don't
don't.
bid don't bid against me. It won't be pretty. It won't be
Well, yeah,
pretty.
and I don't even think you could certainly find one because I don't think O-Pee-Chee, because it's three cello packs in a
Yeah, it's
rack. I
right.
don't even think they're collated. I think it's just
Well, I've never I look every
yeah,
time I see them.
yeah,
eBay's kind of a neat thing, especially when you're into programming, because you could start getting into searches that make sense.
sure,
So I have my little list, which I'm not going to show them that often, but
of course,
it's not going to show up because it's a little too bright. But
sure,
I'm constantly, if one of these things hit, I'm getting. Oh, in fact, here Mike Scott jersey just showed up. Okay, and it's the same jersey that the guy's been selling. You can't see it, but
sure,
it's not an authentic jersey. It's from a very good seller, Crook Cards, who I've bought from before too. But
sure,
it's an authentic, but not a game use jersey. He wants 250 for it. He'll get 250 for it. But I I I'm wearing a Mike Scott jersey right now. I have 7 of them that are game use. So I would pass on that. But my alert came up,
sure,
so yeah, I'm on that. I don't miss a beat. There's probably not a day that doesn't go by that I'm not checking.
sure,
But most of what I find is in the background. I mean,
hmm
it's very rare. I picked up an 87 tops rack. That's another one. 87 tops. He's in the header cell on the back. So he never shows up. The only way you're going to get him it's a funny story, right? The only way you're supposed to get him in an 87 is if it's missing the glossy all-star car.
hmm
I found one. I overpaid for it. I paid $80 for a 1987 tops rack with
sure,
him in the first cell, which one of the members showed to me, which I was thankful, and I paid $80 for it. And it's at BBC now. And Steve emailed me yesterday. It was authenticated, so I'm thrilled. The
that's
next day, the same guy who I felt bad, I think his name was Nash. I don't want to get his name wrong,
hmm
but he found the box, and sure enough, again, because you're not, there's a picture of an 87 box, and there's the rack on the top, and there's Mike Scott in the third cell, face up, and he bought the rack. He paid $80 for the box, and he got his rack. So he got his, I got mine. We're both really happy. But like that's another one where he doesn't show up in 1986. 86 tops. He's in the header cell also. So I have him on the back of a
okay,
bunch. I'd love to find an 86 tops rack with the glossy all-star card missing, so he
sure,
could be on the top. But those white um, whales are tough to come by, and that's why I like that 88 rack that I showed you before, where the glossy all-star and his card are there. That was kind of special to
sure.
find that, and I
Well,
give
well,
that. Mhm.
well, the problem you're pointing out is one of these issues that when Top started doing this glossy all-star card
Yep.
in the header cell,
Or
that's
the third cell, it
or
blocked out. Yeah, it blocked
yeah,
out one third of. Yep.
you're eliminating a possibility for unopened collectors, and it doesn't even have to be an expensive item, but you're creating for someone who's really trying to assemble a collection, it's a big challenge.
Yeah, it kind of knocked my tops collection stops at 85 because of that. But now that this 87 one kind of came into play, right? 88 I have, 89 he's there.
Sure, sure.
90's weird because they started wrapping the individual, right? There isn't really technically a rack pack, but one
hmm
of the members sent me a 90 the All-Star card in a hanger, one of the Kmart hangers. And I love that. I just don't here, I'll show you one more show and tell thing.
Sure.
I forgot I had one more show and tell thing, which I've had this since like 1998, which no one has, right? There you go. There's the super
Oh,
cello,
oh,
which I've
cool.
had forever. So literally a day ago on the forum, and I don't remember who I'll probably have to look it up, but someone had a supercello, and I hate to use the word authenticated because the company that authenticated it, I've never heard of them before, but they're from
Hmm.
New Jersey. But they make this beautiful supercello a holder because you obviously no one encaps. I got this in like a little plastic box so it can't get damaged.
Sure.
But no one encapsulates the supercellers. You can't send them to Steve. Steve won't look at them.
Yeah.
PSA doesn't grade them.
Yeah.
So it's in a team bag in a box. But I believe on the forum yesterday or the day before,
Evan
someone
posted. Evan
Yeah,
posted. Yeah.
Evan posted it. Evan posted this amazing supercello in this great holder, but I think he said the turnaround was 6 months. So just an FYI, I wrote to them that day and I have not heard back from them yet. So maybe it's
Oh, okay.
because of the weekend and the holiday coming up. But that company's in Susquehanna, so they're only about 30 miles from me. And I read on their site that they take appointments too. Like so, I'll I'll keep you posted on how that turns out because my idea is to get this guy in a box,
Sure.
get
Sure.
it cased up somehow. That one I've had as long as I've had my 80 cello and my 282 racks. I could find the email from eBay where I bought that in like 1998 for like $1. So I'm like I got really lucky that I started collecting this guy in the mid 80s and I started getting unopened stuff unbeknownst to me because I was buying uniforms and car, hundreds of rookie cards. But in what I had purchased were some unopened stuff. And
Sure.
it sat for years. It sat for 20 years inside a safe until I joined this forum, until Shane introduced me to the forum. And then this whole new like I said, it's an addiction kind of broke out, and now I have everything kind of neatly organized, and I'm looking for the next thing, and maybe the next thing is looking at OPG packs at the backs. Maybe that's not such a bad idea.
Don't mention this to your wife that you got a new idea from me. I don't.
Well, she just happened to clean my office up today to do this with you, but she was looking at me sideways when she saw me bringing all of my Scott stuff into the basement. I think she wants it to stay here, but that's not going to happen. Going to go back in the safe.
Well, Rob, thank you so much for taking the time
No, I
to
appreciate it.
chat and to show me some of the, or to show the viewers some of these awesome items and great stories. And I'm
Yeah,
glad
I
he's,
think I think everyone on the forum knows me because I do kind of stick my neck out every so often and say, "Oh, I'm looking for it," and I always get the same question, "Why Mike Scott?" And again, it's really it's for no other reason than I just was an Astro fan. You got a kid from New York or New Jersey who liked the way the Astros uniform. I mean, look, I was thrilled this year. They play great this year,
sure,
and I'm actually kind of happy that the Mets got Justin Verlander. I'm look because I'll get to see him pitch.
sure,
I was at the Astrodome a couple times. I haven't been to the new field, but I'll go see Verlander pitch, and that's great. I think it's awesome. It kind of sucks that Correa didn't end up with the Mets, and I don't. It would have been nice to see him there too, but Jeremy Payne is a stud.
sure.
So things are looking up for the Astros. At least if they're arguably the best team in the last 5 years. Them and the Dodgers right now. So,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
Yeah,
a Houston Astro fan. I like the Mets and I like the Yankees. So it's becoming a Mike Scott fan was kind of easy because he kind of had that duplicity between the Mets and the Astros, which
sure.
you can count those players on a couple hands. I guess
Yes.
Danny Heap, who he was traded for, but I don't collect Danny Heap stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks again. Until next time, everybody,
Yeah.
take care of each other. Keep collecting vintage unopened baseball. I'll be back with another episode soon.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
absolutely. Thank you, Rob.
I